Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 1, 2, check, check. Check, check, check. All right. Go ahead and find your seats. We'll get this show on the road. Gary, you go back for dessert, Gary? Is that your second dessert? It's your first. I don't believe you. I don't believe that's your first plate. It is great to be here on another Monday. This is week number 11 of the Touchdown Club. We've got 3 to go after this week, Rex, and the banquet. So we've got 3 more regular seasons. It's been a heck of a year. Obviously, Razorbacks were off this weekend, and they'll be back in action. But we are blessed to be here. Listen, we could be, I always say, we could be across the street on 630, one of those hospitals over here. So let's count our blessings and be thankful that we get a chance to be around each one another, fellowship, and talk about football. Gary, will you come up and lead us in a word of prayer?
It is an honor and a privilege to welcome my grandson's football coach to the Touchdown Club today. You believe that? And no, my grandson does not play at UCA. He coached a second grade team this summer, and they won the Super Bowl. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity just to get up this morning and just serve you, just to be here and enjoy each other's company. We thank you for the food, and I pray that it'll give us strength today. We pray for the players that are going to play this weekend, that you'll keep them safe and that you'll help them to live their lives in such a way that they honor their families, themselves, and you. Lord, use us today in your service. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Gary. Don't forget to mute your phones. And if you have somebody that wants to see Coach Brown today's speech, you can go online at lrtouchdown.com. You can go to the Facebook page of the Touchdown Club, or you can listen to 103.7 The Buzz, where he'll be live here in just a moment. Of course, Nathan is today. Nathan Brown, head coach at UCA. Next week, Walt Coleman. Yep. So we haven't had Walt, and I don't even know how we used to get Walt, to be quite honest, because he was refereeing back in the day. But he came, it was probably 10, 15 years ago, so it'll be great to have a retired Walt Coleman. And we all need to practice. When he gets up here, you know what we're going to do? Boo! Boo! We want him to feel comfortable, and I think that's the environment he enjoys the most. He really does. He's a great guy, Charlie. You know, you can hear him every Wednesday on the Buzz, and he is so good. He's become a superstar. He's become a superstar, and there's plenty of stuff to talk about. His son is still refereeing, as a matter of fact. So that is next week. Week after that, we have Andre Ware and Quinn Grovey talking about that great shootout at War, maybe one of the greatest games ever at War Memorial in terms of excitement. I want to acknowledge our sponsors real quick. 103.7 The Buzz, of course, that is hosted by the voice of UCA football, and that's Justin Acree, along with sideline analyst R.J. Hawk here. We've got 2/3 of the team. Chris Kane is the other over at Channel 7, but we appreciate 103.7 The Buzz being here every week, sponsored by Arkansas Urology. Great to have the Hatcher Agency in Twin City Limo. I think I saw Greg Hatcher walking around in his walker. You know, it's not often we see you moving slow, Greg, but we're glad you're here. Took a tough one on the road, lost last Saturday night, but we're all pulling for Lane. Glad to see you here. Appreciate your support through the Hatcher Agency and Twin City Limo. War Memorial Stadium. This Thursday night, you got Catholic versus Central. Saturday, you have Hendricks versus Millsap. And then you got 6 dates for high school state championships altogether, all at the Grand Old Lady. And the other thing is, I don't know if many realize it or not, we did it last year. The third Saturday in December is the JUCO National Championship held here in Little Rock. So we did that last year, and that's got to get some traction on that. You got 2 of the top JUCO programs coming to Little Rock the third Saturday in December, so we appreciate War Memorial Stadium and their support of the Touchdown Club. Arkansas Urology, this Wednesday, I will assume the position. I'm sorry. Is that inappropriate? I'm sorry. That means I'm just holding up this lecture. That's all I'm doing right there. But I'm getting checked up on Wednesday, my annual checkup. Guys, make sure you do that. 14 clinics across Arkansas, serving over 100,000 patients. I've never done that. I've been here at the Touchdown Club 17 years and never illustrated that before. I apologize. I'm sorry, Lord. Please forgive me. Pulaski County Farm Bureau, great to see Todd Dennis here as always. Stephen Reichert, Austin Davis here, a new agent. Appreciate having you here. Come back again. Give them a chance to give some of your business to them when it comes to insurance. They'll take good care of you. Vantage Service Company, Kevin Brooks. Always great to see Kevin look like $1 million here. He's our fashion guru of the Touchdown Club. I appreciate them. The One Call does it all. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, generators, appliances, they do it all. We appreciate Advantage Service Company. Got a special coming up with you guys for our Touchdown Club members here in a couple weeks. Look forward to announcing that. Dairy Queen, they've announced the 12th location. They're trying to keep up with Big Red. They're behind, but they're trying to catch up. 12th location in Russellville. They've taken over an old Dairy Queen, and they're redoing it. It's going to be open in a week. We appreciate the Lively family and Todd Ditton for what they do. Simmons Bank Arena. Jeremy Flynn told me today, 1 week from today, Razorback basketball tickets go on sale for December 18th. The women will play UCA at 1 p.m. over at Simmons Bank Arena. The men will play Hofstra at 7 p.m. Tickets still available. Go to SimmonsBankArena.com. I have a funny feeling that's going to be a big crowd to watch both those games. So appreciate Simmons Bank Arena. Big Red stores. You know, I've always told you that Big Red, I mentioned that they have done an NIL deal, name, image, and likeness with Grant Morgan. So we interview Grant every week on 103.7 The Buzz. Does a great job, great kid, All-American linebacker. Well, Big Red has taken it to the next level because of Roger Scott and his production company called Naked Gardener Productions. This is one of the 4 spots that he did for Big Red. Let's take a look. You're seeing it for the first time.
After battling tigers, longhorns, and aggies, a fella can get a little hungry. Speed, power, explosiveness, and the ability to diagnose a play in a millisecond won't just help you become an All-American linebacker.
All-American linebackers eat All-American breakfast. You should too. At Big Red stores, now more convenient than ever.
That wasn't even the last one.
Let's give it up for that. How about that? Nice first spot. Well done, guys. That's one of 4 to come. So Roger did a great job, Big Red, on the cutting edge of doing NIL deals. Speaking of that, let's take a look at Wright, Lindsey & Jennings. Wanted to show this. Funny, so Wright, Lindsey & Jennings is doing a lot of these NIL deals for players. I had a business that comes to the Touchdown Club. I'm not going to say who. They came to the Touchdown Club. They heard that Wright, Lindsey & Jennings was handling a lot of NIL deals with athletes, and they're going to do it because of that. So let's take a look at Wright, Lindsey & Jennings' spot. So if you, let's give a round of applause for that great commercial right there they've got out there. So if you have an athlete that's at UCA or ASU or Arkansas State or OBU, whoever it is, you want to do a deal, do some kind of creative work with it, talk to all the folks over at Wright, Lindsey & Jennings. Charlie, good to see you, and Judy Henry and all the great lawyers and attorneys over at Wright, Lindsey & Jennings. Great to see the guys from Crane Automotive here on the front. Appreciate you guys as always. 17 automotive dealerships in the state, largest dealership group in the state of Arkansas. They employ 1,000 Arkansans. We appreciate the guys and ladies from Crane Automotive. Make sure and go by there and make sure they give you a good deal. Great to have Amanda Copley back with us today. Amanda, always great to work with our All Arkansas Preps crew every week. I got mom and daddy and grandmom and granddaddy and brother and coach also dad. And so we appreciate Amanda's help with that. And go to ArkansasOnline.com for all the news that comes out of the Democrat Gazette. We appreciate you. And last but not least, Simmons Bank. Every week we announce something new. Last week, 2 weeks ago, it was Liberty Bowl, which is now Simmons Bank Memorial Stadium. Now it was obviously the field over at War Memorial Stadium. And the latest is down in Pine Bluff. Oh, yeah. What is it? What's happening in Pine Bluff? It's been going on forever? King Cotton Classic, exactly right. So again, Simmons has got their name on almost every major event, things happening in sports. We appreciate it. Richard couldn't do it without your support and all the folks from Simmons every week that show up. Best presenting sponsor in America. We appreciate you and appreciate all that Simmons Bank does. We've got the best sponsors in America for a Touchdown Club. Let's give a big round of applause to them if you don't mind. And as you know, we work towards the end of the year where we give all our awards out. Found out today, where's Harlan Hill? See that award right there? They call that the Small College Heisman. We've been giving that out for the last 2 years because the folks in Alabama didn't want to do it anymore or couldn't do it. So we've started doing that. They've been around since 1986, and we haven't had a sponsor, but Rex, we do now. Delta Pest Control. Where's Bill and Doris Lawrence? Let's give a round of applause. They've stepped up. They said they're going to sponsor that this year. Thank you. We'll bring in the winner and their family, and it's always a cool deal, and that's a very special award, and we appreciate you guys being a part of that. I also want to thank Brent Bailey, who does a great job with the Touchdown Club through the Doubletree Hotel. Matt Johnson, M&M Productions back there. Dwayne Duncan takes great photos. He got to take his picture last week with Drew Pearson's Super Bowl ring, or actually NFL Hall of Fame ring. Exactly right. R.J. Hawk, who also, by the way, not only went to UCA, not only does UCA broadcast, football broadcast, but is a classmate of Nathan Brown. Went to school at the same time. RJ handling our social media effort along with Meredith Scott Hell from CareLink. We appreciate Meredith doing that every week. And our amazing Touchdown Club volunteer team. I did want to say, where's Marilyn? So Marilyn Miller back there has just been through a lot. She's been through a lot with family and health. She was here the first meeting along with my mother, the first meeting we ever had 17 years ago in 2004. I want to give a round of applause for Marilyn Miller back there. She's still a coming. She's still working. She's a sweetheart. We appreciate her. And couldn't do it without our amazing Debbie Wyman. Debbie, nobody does it better in America than Debbie. We appreciate her as our executive director. All right, it is time for our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. R.J. Holt, will you come up and introduce another unbelievable player with big numbers to talk about?
Thank you, David. You know, every Friday night on 103.7 The Buzz, we do the high school game of the week, and usually we'll run across a player that I'll send Coach Brown a text and say, hey, you need to be watching this kid because he needs to be playing for the Bears. Well, Coach, I don't have to send you the text because you need to look at this kid right here. Coming out of Dardanelle, his name is Drew Vega. He's the quarterback at Dardanelle. And, you know, I always talk about stats at this club. We're always talking about big stats. Well, I've got 2 weeks of big stats because Drew is a stats machine. 2 weeks ago against Mena, he had 19 carries for 278 yards and 5 touchdowns. He threw the ball just 3 of 6 for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. He caught a pass for 46 yards, and he also had 8 tackles. Now, that was 2 weeks ago against Mena, right? This past week against Waldron, he decided he wanted to run it 22 times for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. He threw the ball 8 of 11 passing, and he also had 4 tackles against Waldron. So in 2 weeks, he's had over 400 yards rushing. He's had 7 touchdowns. He's only thrown the ball 8 of 17 in the last 2 weeks. So he's been a touchdown machine all around. He's from Dardanelle. He brought his entire family, his head coach and his dad. Phil Vega's here. His mom, Crystal Vega, Brian and Teresa are his grandparents. And his brother has the greatest name of all time. His brother's name is Creed. And I want to welcome Drew Vega, the quarterback from Dardanelle.
Coach Vega, do you get on your son a little bit differently when he messes up? Or is, yeah. So Phil, you've been the head coach at Dardanelle for 6 years. Does everybody know what the mascot is? That's an easy one. 17 years altogether. Is that right? 17 years altogether at Dardanelle, 6 as head coach. That's fantastic. Great to have Crystal here with us as well, Mama, and Brian and Teresa as the grandparents. Great to have grandparents here, and Creed, of course, as R.J. mentioned. So congratulations. He's only a junior. So we expect more of that to come. All right, weekend in recap. Let's give it up for Rex Nelson, everybody.
Thanks, David. Of course, I will end with this, but I want to start by telling you we have college football games, David, in 10 different Arkansas cities this Saturday. I never remember that many. So you really don't have an excuse to not get out and see a college football game this week. And the weather's going to be beautiful. It's going to rain all day Wednesday, and it's going to be cool fall. I mean, it's just going to be perfect. But let's recap the last weekend, and, of course, we start with UCA this week, a 38-14 winner at Jacksonville State in Alabama. The Bears even their record at 4-4. They scored 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. So they easily win despite being outgained 398 to 379. UCA had 3 interceptions in all. Again, 2 of them returned for touchdowns. On offense, Darius Hale, we've been talking about him, rushed for 120 yards and a touchdown. Quarterback Braylon Smith, 22 of 35 passing, 229 yards and 1 TD, and I'll let Coach tell you about the rest of it. But a big victory for the Bears over in Alabama over the weekend. Now, for Arkansas State, a long season continues. 31-13 loss also against an Alabama school, South Alabama. Jaguars scored 28 unanswered points to start the game. They scored touchdowns on each of their first 4 possessions. Defense has been a real issue for the Red Wolves this year. South Alabama outgained ASU in the first half, 352-70. ASU falls to 1-7, 0-4 in conference. South Alabama now 5-3, 2-3. Also, the trouble continues for UAPB. Texas Southern routs the Golden Lions 59-17. Golden Lions led 3-0 early. Skylar Perry, their quarterback, was 25 of 37 passing for 311 yards, but that's now 7 consecutive losses for UAPB. Now, on to the Great American Conference. This is really getting fun. We've got 2 weeks left, David, in the regular season, and there's still a 3-way tie at the top. So it's basically a 2-week season for the championship. Henderson, Harding, Ouachita, all 8-1, all nationally ranked. 2 of them likely will end up going to the playoffs this year. So they're all 8-1. UAM is 4-5. SAU and Arkansas Tech are both 3-6. Henderson defeated 1-8 Southern Nazarene 34-3 in Arkadelphia. Adam Morse, Henderson's good senior quarterback, passed for 237 yards. He rushed for another 66. The Ready defense added a 62-yard interception return for a touchdown. Harding, meanwhile, defeated 1-8 Northwestern Oklahoma 73-14. 73. Now, most of you know from my recaps every week, Harding runs that double slot option offense, rarely passes the ball. So get this. Harding rushed, this is rushing yardage only, for a school record 674 yards in that football game. 674 yards on the ground, 10 rushing touchdowns. Harding scored touchdowns on 6 of its 7 first-half possessions. They added a 54-yard field goal on the other one and led 45-0 at the half. The Bisons had 3 freshmen rush for more than 100 yards, and you don't see that option offense, as you know, much in college football anymore. So they're capable of making a very deep run in the playoffs just because teams aren't used to it. Ouachita trailed by 11 on the road, and they came in ranked number 6 in the country by the American Football Coaches Association, but they trailed by 11 near the end of the third quarter when a great senior out of Warren, you might remember when he was their quarterback back in high school, named Hayden Laster, returned an interception for a TD. Now, Hayden could have finished last May, and he's already got, I want to mention this because you mentioned he's here, he's already got a job with Greg Hatcher at the Hatcher Agency, and a smart kid. And when he ran off the field, Greg, Coach Knight told me he was hollering, "That's why I came back." It turned the whole game around. It was the start of a 26-point run for Ouachita, and Ouachita beats 5-4 East Central Oklahoma 43-28. T.J. Cole, 226 yards rushing and 4 TDs on 32 carries for Ouachita. Meanwhile, you've heard me talk about this freshman, Kendall Givens, who is from right here at Little Rock Christian. He leads the nation in rushing touchdowns, all categories of the NCAA going into the weekend, I know, and he got his 20th rushing touchdown of the season. So Henderson, Harding, Ouachita, all still 8-1, all nationally ranked. Arkansas Tech beats 0-9 Southwestern Oklahoma. Jesus Zazumbo, I love saying that name, kicked a 36-yard field goal with 8 seconds left. 15-14 the final score. The Wonder Boys win it as Tech scores 9 points in the final 5 minutes of the game. Southern Arkansas falls in Magnolia 44-40 to Gary's alma mater, 6-3 Oklahoma Baptist. Oklahoma Baptist scores 2 touchdowns in the final 8:32. SAU had gone up 40-30, 10-point lead with 10:49 to play in the game and couldn't hang on. UAM falls 34-14 to 7-2 Southeastern Oklahoma. Southeastern jumped to a 17-0 lead in that game. All right. Let's get to the SEC. I know a lot of you watched this one, as they call it, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville, Florida. Number 1, Georgia routs Florida 34-7. Georgia goes to 8-0 overall, 6-0 in the SEC. Florida 4-4 and 2-4. Bulldogs score 3 touchdowns off Florida mistakes in a 12-play sequence. 3 touchdowns in a 12-play sequence. And they beat the Gators for the first time in the past 5 games. That's now 12 consecutive wins for Georgia since losing to Florida in Jacksonville last year. Florida did manage, by the way, with those 7 points, to extend its NCAA record scoring streak to 418 games. That's the NCAA record right now. They have not been shut out. Almost were on Saturday. They have not been shut out since 1988. In Auburn, meanwhile, Bo Nix passes for 276 yards and a touchdown, runs for 2 more scores, a 31-20 victory over Ole Miss. Tigers go to 6-2, 4-1. Rebels are 6-2 and 3-2 in the conference. 3 times Ole Miss had failed 4th down tries when they were in field goal range. They went for it 3 times and they failed on all 3 of them. In Stark Vegas, Mississippi State, this week's Razorback opponent, shocked Kentucky 31-17. Bulldogs go to 5-3 overall, 3-2 in the conference. Wildcats fall to 6-2 and 4-2. Will Rogers, gotta love that name for a quarterback, 36 of 39 passing, 344 yards for the Bulldogs. And in Nashville, Missouri knocks off Vanderbilt 37-28. Missouri is now 4-4, 1-3 in the conference. Vanderbilt falls to 2-7, 0-5, and has now lost 18 consecutive SEC games. All right, Mississippi State at Arkansas, Liberty at Ole Miss. That could be interesting. The Hugh Freeze Bowl. Tennessee at Kentucky, Florida at South Carolina, Missouri at Georgia, LSU at Alabama, and Auburn at Texas A&M in what should be a very good game. All right, here in the state, 3 o'clock kickoff. Finally, not an 11 a.m. kickoff. How about that? 3 o'clock kickoff in Fayetteville, Mississippi State at Arkansas. You've also got Appalachian State at ASU. You've got Texas Wesleyan at UCA. You've got Grambling at UAPB. You thought you enjoyed the UAPB band at War Memorial Stadium? I went to this game in Pine Bluff 2 years ago, David. Wait till you get both the Grambling and the UAPB bands there. That's worth the trip to Pine Bluff, I can promise you. Southeastern Oklahoma at nationally ranked Ouachita. Southwestern Oklahoma at nationally ranked Harding. Northwestern Oklahoma at Arkansas Tech. East Central Oklahoma at UAM. Hendricks plays Millsaps out at War Memorial Stadium. And Louisiana College at Lyon College. So I kid you not, games in Fayetteville, Jonesboro, Conway, Pine Bluff, Arkadelphia, Searcy, Russellville, Monticello, Little Rock, and Batesville. No excuses. Get out and see a college football game on Saturday. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rex. And also, too, I heard, I guess many of you heard the Mississippi State game, as you said, 3 o'clock. LSU is at 6:30. So, again, not 11 o'clock start. Although it's going to be interesting to see what happens with LSU and Alabama. I don't think that's going to be pretty. Sorry, LSU fans, if there are any that are here. That's not going to be pretty at all. So anyway, so it's just great that the Hogs will be at 3 o'clock for a change. Did want to mention thanks for all of you who have voted at the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. You can buy your membership to the Touchdown Club. I voted last night. It's one of the most difficult things ever. Greg is the president of the Hall of Fame. And Greg, I mean, there's so many deserving candidates. I'm telling you, I just don't know. You know, part of me just saying let's bring them all in, but it can't happen that way. But do want to thank all of you who take part in the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame voting. If you haven't, you should be. I do want to recognize Steve Wortman, one of my old teammates back there in the back, old linebacker. He's retired now. Must be nice. Also, I saw Ken Turner back there as always, and a couple other special guests. Always great when we have our speaker's wife here. Nathan Brown's wife, Jessica, is here. Jessica, would you please stand? Let's give her a round of applause, please. bringing the purple strong. Also, a couple other folks, they call him, even his own brother calls him coach. He was a longtime AD. He's also been an assistant coach at about every school, I think, in the AIC days. Vance Strange. Vance, good to have Vance Strange here. Let's get up for Vance. Great to have both UCA Director of Athletics as well as the UCA President, Dr. Brad Teague and Dr. Houston Davis. Would you two please stand? Let's give them both a round of applause. And hard to believe that Steve East down here has been with UCA for 28 years in his role as Associate Athletic Director for Media Relations since 1994, right? Unbelievable. Came from the Democrat Gazette. Always great to work with. Let's give it up for Steve East, everybody. Great guy. But great to have Brad and Houston and Jessica and all of you here. So here's the deal. This is the third year we've had you, right? Third year, the 1 year off for COVID last year. But for those of you who've been with the Touchdown Club, this is year 17. Really should be year 18 without the COVID. This is how we first got to see Nathan Brown when we honored him. You know, our banquet, we always honor. Look at there. That's 2000. That is 2007. That is the MVP of UCA football right there. Now, he came back again the next year. I didn't have time to find the 2008 picture, but that's amazing to me. How old were you there, Nathan? 21. He's 35 now, and how cool is it? How cool is it? We get to honor him as a collegiate player, and then we get to welcome him back as a head coach, molding young men into outstanding citizens in our state. So let's listen to the intro from Steve Sullivan. It's going to pick up pretty quick on some of Nathan's career, and after that, we'll come up and hear from Nathan Brown.
Texas State, Central Arkansas QB Nathan Brown is Nathan Brown. All he did was throw 7 touchdown passes, 6 in the first half, and oh yeah, that's a school record. Oh, and then he got a victory, 63-21. Bears 34 first downs and 662 yards of offense.
They're going crazy in Conway, Arkansas for that kid.
Who would?
Look at him.
Keep it coming.
7. We could be here all night.
But it won't be because of this.
No?
Probably not.
Conway, just a little north of Little Rock.
Nathan Brown is one of the greatest Bears. He was a 3-time All-American quarterback for UCA. He led the Bears to a pair of conference titles. He also set state passing records for yards, close to 11,000, and touchdowns, 100. He went on to have great success as UCA's quarterback coach and then offensive coordinator. This Russellville native has played or coached in 7 of the top 10 passing offenses in UCA history. In December of 2017, a dream come true. The most prolific quarterback in UCA history became the Bears' 20th head coach. In his second year leading the Bears, UCA tied for a league title and made it to the second round of the FCA playoffs. In 3+ seasons as head coach, his Bears are 14-8 in conference play. Please welcome a man who's been doing big things since the day he stepped on the Conway campus back in 2005. UCA head coach Nathan Brown.
Standing ovation. Definitely don't deserve that. But I appreciate it. Thank y'all for that. I want to echo what David started on a second ago, just recognizing a few people in the audience, obviously, that when you've been at one place for so long, it's obviously special and so many people. We've got, hey, look, I've got a great job, probably the best in the country in my opinion, but I also have 2 of the best bosses in the world. And I'm not just saying that because y'all are in the room. They really are. I'll tell anybody that. But look, President Houston Davis sets the tempo and tone, just like you do in football, kind of, a tempo offense. He sets the tempo and tone at the University of Central Arkansas as well as anybody in higher education that in my short amount of time of being a part of it that I've ever seen. So thank you for being here, President Davis. And then Dr. Brad Teague, obviously, he sets the tone for our whole athletic department. I mean, it's about the collegiate experience for our student athletes, not just our football program, but our student athletes. Those 2 men right there are why UCA, the University of Central Arkansas, is where it is and is where it's going to be. And it's an exciting time. So you guys give them a hand real fast. This whole row right here, I could name them all, but I don't have time. But thank you to a couple board of trustee members here. Can't thank y'all enough. Got some family in the back. I'll talk about Jessica in one second, but I got my sister, raise your hand, Laura. I got my sister-in-law, Ashley, right there. I got my mom and dad, David and Becky, and I got my father-in-law, Glenn. Y'all give them a hand, please. So a big reason of my success, especially early in my life and career, is because of my family. I mean, bottom line is they showed me what it looked like. And so when you're around people that show you what it looks like, then it's easy to have success. You follow in line and you do that. And so that's my goal. And then Jessica right there, look, she had no clue what she was getting into when she decided to be a head coach's wife, or a coach's wife for that matter. I mean, bottom line is she's the reason why my family's able to tick. She's the reason why I'm able to have the success I'm able to have. I heard a head coach story one time say he came home one night. He was a Division II coach. He's going to be nameless, but he was at Arkansas Tech at the time. He said he came home one night and his wife doesn't know anything about football. I mean, like nothing. Doesn't even care. Like she goes to the game because she's supporting her husband, her family. Obviously, that's what is probably paying the bills, so you're going to support it, right? And he comes home and he sits down on the couch. I think they'd won a tough game, and she was sitting there with him, and she turned to him and said, why'd you call that play on third down in the second quarter or something along those lines? And he goes, all right, who are you sitting by? Who are you sitting by? Because I know you didn't come up with that. And so what it tells you is they get it a lot worse than we do. I don't hear it. Like what are you doing, coach, on third down? Go for it. Or fourth down, go for it. Why are you playing soft coverage? You should be pressing on defense. Well, the wife hears it. And so they've got to have thicker skin than I even have to have. So you guys give Jessica one more hand for me, please. It's not easy. It's not easy. So one thing I want to do is obviously brag about the University of Central Arkansas. Look, University of Central Arkansas has given so much to me, and I get to obviously be a little part of giving back to it. And the opportunity that University of Central Arkansas gave me, my wife Jessica, and now our family, is something that is so sacred in our household. And look, I'm a rare deal in this profession. Like football coaches come and go. I mean, you see it year in, year out. There's already 6 or 7 FBS football coaches that are fired. And fortunately enough, there's something about the University of Central Arkansas that is just special. Right, RJ? I mean, there's just something special about it. There's something special about the administration, the people involved with it, and the people that are just there, that have been there. I look back at the years of the same faces and the familiar faces that support this program and will support it through thick or thin. And there's something big about that. And so for me to go out and represent the University of Central Arkansas every week and then create the next generation of University of Central Arkansas alums, as far as the student athletes I'm affecting every day, is something I take very, very seriously. I want to brag about our program. So we missed last year, right, because of COVID. COVID shook everybody's world up, right? I mean, COVID, and it still is. I mean, really, we're still in a red status at the University of Central Arkansas as we speak. But I want to brag on our football program and our athletic department a little bit over the course of the 2020 and 2021 season. Since I didn't get to see anybody, didn't get a chance to speak to y'all last year. Last year was a year of trials, a year of discovering what you're made of in the athletic world, because you had to cut budgets, you had to carry less people, you had to do things that weren't normal. At one point, I had 135 or so student athletes dressing in every inch of the stadium to stay separate. And when I say that, we have a big locker room. But to have the proper amount of social distancing, we use bathrooms, we use the visitor locker room, we use the visiting bathrooms. And that was all to make this happen. I'll never forget President Davis coming over to practice. He'll pop in from time to time and support our guys. And he came up to me, and we had a discussion, obviously, with Dr. Teague about what we wanted the 2020 season to look like. Now, I know this is a year ago. This is a long time ago, especially in my world. Like, it's all foggy. But this was a season that meant so much to me, and I think it meant a lot to the University of Central Arkansas. But President Davis came out, and he pulled me aside, and he said, just basically, are you confident in what we're about to do? The decision to play a full season in 2020. Not many FCS programs did that now. Not many FCS programs had the funding. Not many FCS programs had the ability to test at the rate that you have to test. for COVID and do a lot of the things we had to do. And I said, absolutely, I trust our players, I trust our staff, we're going to make this happen. Well, let's look at what happened. We opened the season on ESPN in 2020 against Austin Peay in the FCS Kickoff Classic on national TV. Not ESPN Plus, not ESPN3, ESPN. We come away with a big win there. That's a big win. It was a Thursday night game, week 0. Huge win for us, a Saturday night game, week 0. We also played the first Division I FBS game against UAB 5 days later on a Thursday night. So we played 2 games in a matter of 5 days before any team in the country played a game in the thick of the COVID pandemic. Yeah, that's absolutely. So why is that important? Because our kids bought in. They trusted our medical staff. Our medical team did a phenomenal job. Conway Regional stepped up for us to be able to test our players at a consistent rate. So between those 2 games, you're getting national exposure. You're putting the University of Central Arkansas brand at a national level and attention that maybe you wouldn't have got if it wasn't for that opportunity. So our players did a great job of that. Our coaching staff did a great job of that. But within those 4 or 5 days, we got tested 3 different times. And you guys that have been COVID tested know it's not fun, right? RJ, you had to get tested a couple times, right? Sideline, 3 times. I mean, and over the course of the football season, I counted now because I knew how many times I got stuck up my nose. Over the course of the 2020 into the 2021 season, I got tested 37 times. 37 times. You could probably that's probably why I can breathe so well. But it's a testament to our university, our trust in our system, and what we're about. We're in a crazy era of football right now. We're in a crazy era of football. Everybody heard of the transfer portal, right? And all the things that entails. I mean, there's so much going on and ability for kids to move on and give them the opportunity to transfer and do different things. I want to brag about our football program for a minute. So as easy as it is to transfer, as easy as it is to not be happy with where you're at, that hasn't been the case at the University of Central Arkansas. So I'm just going to read you some numbers real fast. This is some staggering stuff right here. So we did a study. So as a coach, you got to do something to fill the hours, right? Like we spend a lot of hours up there. Sometimes football, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to win. Like you just, let's be what we're good at. So we decided to do a little self-scout study on the transfer portal because we want to continue to grow our program and see where we need to get better. Well, let's talk about conference-wise. Southland Conference, this was as of September of this year. There was through the course of the summer in the Sun Belt Conference, there was 169 kids in the transfer portal out of 10 teams. That's a 17-team average. The Conference USA had 279 kids with 13 teams. That's 21.5 kid average per team. The AAC had 201, 11 teams, 18.3 average. I mean, I could go down the list. Mountain West, 190 kids, 12 teams, 15.8 average. The Group of 5 conference, this is not the Power 5, this is not the SEC, Big 12, Pac-12. The Group of 5 combined conference had 1,075 kids in the transfer portal out of 58 teams for an 18.4 average per team in the transfer portal. That's basically 18 kids on every team was in the transfer portal. It's a crazy world. So let's look at what UCA had. So in the matter of, since the transfer portal has came in, scholarship player-wise, UCA has had 2 guys in the transfer portal. Now, yeah, there's some, absolutely. Now, why do I take great pride in that? Because I think it's a big deal. Because you have to give players more than just football. Because football is a game that is humbling. It's a game that's a game of emotions. It's a game that if you just live off football, you're going to be frustrated a lot of the time. So, therefore, if you're just living off of football, then you're probably going to have times where you say, you know what, I don't like this coaching staff. I don't like my teammates. I'm out of here. So Dr. Teague sets the tone, like I said. He talks about the collegiate experience in our athletic department. What does a collegiate experience consist of? Well, to me, it consists of 3 things. To me, it consists of, obviously, unbelievable academics. Are we supporting them in the academic world? 2, are we supporting them in the athletic world? In other words, we're winning on the field. We're coaching them the right way. We're treating them the right way. And then 3, socially. How are we growing them as men? My goal is every single day I have a coach on my staff that says this, and I live by this quote, just show them what it looks like. If you show them what it looks like as a coach, then they're going to follow you. Not that I'm perfect, not that our coaching staff's perfect, or if you're in a position of leadership and you've got people around, if you show them what it looks like. Perfection is unattainable. They're going to see my bumps and bruises, but I'm also going to be there to be able to talk to them and feel them through life and opportunities and all that, because it's bigger than just football. There's so much more. So how are we doing that? We've had the opportunity and blessing to do manhood meetings, grow our guys as men. You know, David was talking about that. The next generation, I take that very seriously, because I want my guys, and y'all have heard me say this, some of you UCA people that are in the room, I want them to have the ability to come on their lunch break from being an insurance guy or a teacher or a coach or in the business world, to have the ability to come sit and listen at the Little Rock Touchdown Club because they're having a successful career outside of football. That's what I want the next generation of guys to be able to do. So having manhood meetings, having opportunities to grow them as men, not just on the football field, but off the field. We also have had the opportunity to have 2 motivational coaches over the last couple of years. I want to give a shout out to one of them, and Jordan Montgomery. He has been so inspirational. You see a lot of guys having John Gordon, some big names in the profession that come and pour into their players. Ben Newman with Alabama. He was at North Dakota State. Well, Jordan Montgomery is in that same circle. Another guy has poured into us is David Nurse. He's got 3 or 4 books out. He was matter of fact, here's a funny story about David Nurse. He's a motivational speaker. He was in the NBA for a little while. But these guys are pouring into our program. They're giving them a different voice than just hearing Coach Brown every single day. I can get kind of boring at times, I'm sure. So that gives them a different perspective and a different motivation and a different light to the world. So a funny story about David Nurse, he comes and speaks to our team. We're on the road at Abilene Christian. This is a compliment to me, so y'all can clap when this is done. So he comes up to me, and he walks in, and this is the first time I've met him. And so Jordan set this up, Jordan Montgomery, the guy I was talking about a second ago, who's fully invested in our team. So, you know, as guys, you always shake your hand. You kind of come in for the bro hug, right, whenever you come in with the guy. So I go in. The first thing this guy says, now David Nurse, this guy's got like 2 million followers on Instagram. I mean, he's got books, best-selling books. He's an author. I mean, he's big time. Been in the NBA. He was Russell Westbrook's mental coach. I mean, he's coaching. I mean, this dude's unreal. So I go in and shake his hand the first time I meet him, and he goes, "Man, you smell good." I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird because I know I've been traveling all day. We had lunch at Golden Corral, so I can't smell that good. And then 3, like I hadn't even had a chance to shower. So I'm sitting there laughing. So then he sends me a text. We beat Jacksonville State on Saturday. He sends me a text and he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know." And if you follow him, you'd have known he was there. But he was basically with Clemson all weekend with their program. They went and played Florida State. He went and spoke to them. He was with them for the weekend, kind of like he was with us against Abilene Christian. He goes, "Hey, congrats on the win. I just want to let you know Dabo doesn't smell like you." And I was like, all right, I got one up on that guy. You know, like, that's awesome, you know? So that fires me up. But yeah, that's such a neat deal. But football brings so many personalities and backgrounds together. And so free smells after? No, I'm just joking. No, but he was a great dude. But yeah, giving our players more than just football is important. I think that's huge in the transfer portal world and what we're trying to live in as we're navigating through this crazy world of sports that we're in right now. One thing I want to brag on too is we've got 3 young men right now in the National Football League and the NFL that are playing at a very, very, very high caliber right now. Of those 3 guys, you got George Odom with the Indianapolis Colts. He was an All-Pro special teams guy, first team All-Pro special teams guy last year. He was that close. I think he was couple hundred votes from being a Pro Bowl player at the special teams position. You got Traymon Smith, another defensive player who is I think their 6th or 7th leading tackler this year for the Houston Texans. And then last year's draft pick, a 4th-round draft pick, I think one of the highest ever, if not the highest ever in UCA history, Robert Rochelle, who is going to make his 3rd or 4th consecutive start for the LA Rams as a rookie. One cool thing about Robert, look, all these guys are like y'all know when you get close to somebody, you just love them, and Robert's one of my guys. Like that kid, I feel like I raised him just through he's been through so much trials and tough times. But a couple weeks ago, Sunday night game, he got his first interception as a rookie, and was a great play, undercut the throw, big time play. Well, I get a phone call late one night, or that night, and it's Robert calling me. And he just wanted to say thank you, and so I'm like, man, that's what it's about, right? Like, this kid's got an interception. There's no telling how many texts and phone calls he got, and he called me, and he just said, Coach, I just want to thank you for always believing in me. And so you just look at success stories like that, and it just warms you up, because it is, and not because Robert's having success in the NFL, but we've got countless student athlete after student athlete that are having success in stuff other than professional football, and there's something special to be said about that. Real fast, let me brag on a couple guys. So right now, if you haven't heard, we've got two of the best receivers that have ever played at the University of Central Arkansas. If you get an opportunity in these last 3 weeks, we've played 2 home games in our last 3 games. You need to come watch these 2 young men play. A young man named LaJuan Winningham and Tyler Hudson, really playing together for really right at 2.5 years. Now listen to this. This is not fake numbers. For 2.5 years, combined, they have 306 catches, 5,044 yards, and 50 touchdowns. You don't do that at receiver, and yeah. Both of those young men are going to be just like the 3 that I mentioned just now. They're going to have NFL careers. They're going to have opportunities to grow professionally. Just have a lot of positivity above them. Rex mentioned earlier Darius Hale. He said a lot about him. That's a true freshman running back for us right now. He leads the country right now with 15 touchdowns as a true freshman. He's also 10th in the country in rushing, right under 800 yards. Again, bright future ahead for that kid. Braylon Smith. Wow, I feel like he's been here for a long time. He's 9th in the country in touchdown passes right now, 10th in yards. I looked at the numbers. I didn't write it down, but he's 2nd in basically every category, and really with 3 games left and guaranteed games left, he's got a chance to get close to 10,000 yards passing in his career, close to probably mid-90s touchdowns, maybe low or high 80s. Just such a great career, such a great ambassador for our program, and just a light to the world. If you guys get a chance to shake Braylon's hand or get to know him, what a great kid that's going to be in the Central Arkansas area for a long time with success. Again, a graduate that's probably going to go. I was talking to Greg, going to go into insurance. Just a phenomenal dude. But I want to leave y'all with this, and you guys that are UCA people know me, and you know where I stand with this school and this program. I'm a dreamer. I'm a person that believes in the product. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be lumps and bruises and tough times and thick times, but I do believe in the end goal and what's ahead for the University of Central Arkansas. I heard Matt Campbell say, he's the head coach, to me, one of the best head coaches in the country, so one of the guys I really follow, Matt Campbell at Iowa State. I think they're sitting at 6-2 right now. Again, I don't know how he wins at Iowa State. I'm sure they pump some resources in there, but in the middle of in the middle of Big Ten country, he's playing Big 12 football. It's just a weird deal. But he had somebody asked him a question. He said, "Why? I don't know why Iowa State does this, but it's like going up the easy side of Mount Magazine. We go up the hard side, but we get to the top, And I think to a certain extent that hit home with me. At the University of Central Arkansas, in our football program is what I'm talking about right now. It's not the easiest place. We're not in the heart of Texas recruiting a 300-mile radius and having to get kids. We've got to go get kids in Florida. We've got to go get kids in Georgia, Texas. We've got California kids. We've got to go all across the country because of the sheer numbers to field a team, and that's not always easy. So you're matching a lot of backgrounds, a lot of personalities and different socioeconomic statuses, and coming together for one, and that's what makes it so fun and special. But I've got a big vision for this program, and I think with the leadership we have in place, obviously they are a very proactive and not reactive group. And I think that's what resonated more with me when we sat down as head coaches, and Dr. Teague was talking about the move to the A-Sun from the Southland Conference. It was about being proactive. It was about looking at the landscape of college athletics and saying we have to be proactive. We're not going to wait for something and be reactive. And I think that's exciting as a coach to have leadership that thinks that way, because not everybody thinks that way, right? Some people wait and let things happen, and then we're going to figure it out from there. But I think we're a very proactive approach. I told a story a couple weeks ago, just a vision, a dream that I have for this program and who we are. You look at a program in alignment with the University of Central Arkansas and where they are now. I look at a program in the Sun Belt Conference that is from Conway, South Carolina. program, Coastal Carolina, who's in the top 20 right now. Well, Conway, South Carolina, Conway, Arkansas, there's a lot of similarities right there. Everybody see it? There's a weird colored field, right? They've got the teal field. It's green, but it's teal, right? We've got the stripes. You look back about 10 years ago, Coastal Carolina was a, yeah, there you go. There's the stripes. About as pretty a field as they come right there, isn't it? You look back about 8 to 10 years ago, and Coastal Carolina was an FCS program, battling their way through it. They had a vision. They had a moment. I don't know what the population of Conway, South Carolina is, but I think I looked at it. It's in the 30 to 40,000 range. Conway's bigger than that. I think they've got around the same enrollment as we do. But they were proactive, and they were pushing the envelope. They were pushing the envelope. And they had an administration that bought in. They had an athletic department that bought in, and a university that bought in. And now they are a brand in college football. Everybody knows who the Chanticleers are because of what they had in this, hey, we're going to go out on a limb, and we're going to go make this run. And we're going to make this jump, and we've got the right people in place to do that. I really believe that's the University of Central Arkansas. I'm just happy to be a part of the ride. You know, I've heard President Davis say this before. Athletics, like if your university is a house, athletics is the front porch of the university. And guess what? Football is the mailbox. We're right there in the front. And we take great pride in that. And we're excited about that. I just promise you this, University of Central Arkansas football is in great hands. And we're going to keep pushing this envelope. And special things are to come. And I can't wait to be a part of the ride. And I'm just proud to be here. Y'all have heard me say it, cut me at the wrist. I bleed purple. I can't wait to keep this thing going. Thank y'all.
Let's get up for Nathan Brown, everybody. I don't think there's any need for questions after that. Great job, Nathan. Thank you so much. Good luck, If you want to come up here and get a picture with Nathan afterwards, come on up here. We'll do some pictures real quick and let him get back to practice. Appreciate you being here. Walt Coleman next week as well.